Hi, I'm Teruhisa, Oscar Medical and Pharmaceutical University, Japan. So I'm very happy to come back here and thank you very much, Manos and Manos, for the kind invitation. Actually, this is the first trip and the first lecture after pandemic for me, so I'm very excited, but I did not imagine on the ring. Actually, this is very good experience for me. So anyway, the mini battle face to face is how to manage irreparable load cafeteria. So of course I'm doing SCR using autograph of Fascia. So here I want to tell about why SCR is better in biomechanical and biological and clinical aspects. So first biomechanical effect. Yeah, so what is the biomechanical problem in irreparable cafeteria? As you know, the number one large defect under the chromium, no tissue under the chromium, that's why supermigration, and no tension, shoulder capsule in the super side, that's why actually the supermigration again. And number three, increased super translation during active shoulder elevation. It's a lack of dynamic stability. So these three factors make supermigration similar head. That is the problem. So how to manage irreparable cafeteria biomechanically? For large defect under the chromium, maybe filling the defect, it's a special effect, namely, and no tension of the shoulder capsule in the super side. Maybe we need to make the capsular continuity and the anterior posterior direction and mediolateral direction. It's a tension effect. And also number three, increase the lack of dynamic stability. Maybe we need to make a retention of the infrastructures and teres minor to improve force coupling. So this is a mini battle. So I want to tell the biomechanical effect of each surgical technique. So partial repair is developed by Dr. Burkhardt, as the Manos told us. This is in 1997. This surgery making a rotator cable. This is a very nice concept, but actually partial repair and mostly the posterior side, posterior tendon tissue fixed anteriorly like this. So maybe the space effect may be partially the restored and tension effect. Maybe no, because there's still big defect and on the superior side. And force coupling, it depends on the size of the tear. It's not so big tear, maybe they're completely restored, but it's a big tear and still some defect on the super side, maybe partially restored. And Dr. Burkhardt actually developed this concept in 1997 when he was young. But actually, 20 years later, actually 2013, I told him how to do the SCR. Then he became a big fan of SCR, and he switched to the SCR from the batch partial repair. Maybe this fact represents the SCR is better than partial repair, maybe. And next SCR with hamstring. Actually, I never tried, but the publication paper. Actually, the hamstring is not so thick. Actually, very thin tissue. So maybe the space effect, maybe partially, it's because there are still some defect there, and the tension effect, maybe partially because this technique only the restore the mediolateral direction. But actually, the the effect is from the anterior posterior direction also. So that's why I said partial restoration. And dynamic stability, maybe no. How about biceps rerouting? Actually, biceps SCR. The same thing, maybe space effect, maybe partially, because still defects on the superior side, and the tension effect also partially. If you make a partial repair also, maybe the much better, and the stability we cannot expect if you don't do the partial repair. And the balloon, of course, space effect completely restored, but the tension effect and the force coupling we cannot expect. And this surgery is developed by the Bassam El Hassan. It's a very nice technique. actually lower trapezius. But maybe the space effect, from the figures, his the paper, still some defect on the smear head. Maybe that's why the partially restored. And the tangent effect, still some defect on the super side. That's why I say that not restored. But force coupling, completely restored. So that's why the very good result. And the SCR, I'm doing the SCR using Fascia autograph, very thick the glass. That's why the space effect, I can say the complete research from biomechanical study. And tangent effect also, we make a sighted suture between graft and tendon. And I also do the anterior side repairing subscapularis. That's why the complete research from my biomechanical study again. And dynamic stability, so we make a retensioning of the influent teres minor. So in that case, maybe they're complete restores. So SCR can restore these three factors for irreparable cafeteria. That's why I can say that SCR is a good technique for irreparable cafeteria biomechanically. Next, biological effect. This paper is my junior staff, Dr. Hasegawa's study, and it's a rabbit study. First, we created irreparable cafeteria. Then, after the 4 weeks later, we do the SCR in the right shoulder and left shoulder, just no treatment. So just leave it. Then 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 weeks after surgery, we did a histological analysis. And this is a real picture. Left side in the intact cafeteria, and after remove the supraspinatus muscle and tendon, you can see the great tuberosity and glenoid. And right picture shows the SCR using autograft fascia in the rabbit. So graft is there. Then this is the result, microscopic finding. SCR, the picture, you can see the graft is attached to the great tuberosity and glenoid. Looks like very good healing. But contralateral side, we could see the fibrous membrane, but that was very weak tissue. And this is a histological analysis, and this is the humeral side. And for 16 weeks after surgery, we could see the mineralized fiber cartilage and tight mark, and the mineralized fiber cartilage also. It's similar to the native rotacuff tendon. And this is the immunohistochemistry study. At 16 weeks, we could see the type 2 collagen. So, and this is the glenoid side. Also, this similar result. 16 weeks after surgery, we could see the mineralized fiber cartilage, side mark, and mineralized fiber cartilage also. And the same thing, 16 weeks after surgery, we could see type 2 collagen. And mid-substance of the graft, that we could see from the 8 weeks, we could see some best cells. And also, this is the histochemistry. And 4 weeks after surgery, type 3 collagen is more, but 16 weeks, type 1 is increasing and type 3 decreasing. So from this study, SCR using fasciolata autograft regenerative fibrocartilaginous insertion in both the great tuberosity and superglenoid. And the mid-substance of the graft, fasciolata, gradually remodeled into tendon ligament-like tissue. And clinical effect, this is the current surgical technique. So first we measure the defect side on the medial lateral direction and anteroposterior direction also. This is on the great tuberosity, the anteroposterior. This is the 4 centimeter defect and medial lateral 4 centimeter. Then based on this result, we need to determine graft size. Anteroposterior direction, same the defect side and medial lateral. I recommend 1.5 centimeter longer than the length from superglenoid to the lateral edge of great tuberosity. So that patient 4 centimeter, so graft size 4 centimeter and for 5.5 centimeter. And thickness, I recommend 6 to 8 millimeter. And the graft mating, actually, I'm doing the habitus fasciolata. We cannot make arthroscopically, so open surgery. This is the intermuscular septum. If you have this intermuscular septum too, we can make a very thick graft. And this is the final picture. Then inside the graft is the joint, then not tying on the medial first, and the lateral speed bridge and medial mattress suture, and such a suture between graft and the tendon. So this is the movie file, and all of fiber and the fiber taps attached to the graft outside the body. Afterwards, inside the graft gently. Then afterwards, after we saw the graft reach to the glenoid, not tying on the glenoid first, then speed bridge and major mattress suture and site suture between the graft and tendon. This is the final view. White one is the graft, and this is the posterior view. Red one is the teres minor. So even we inserted the very thick 1 centimeter graft, you could see the space under the chromium. It means the tension effect. So this is the before surgery, and after surgery, you can see the big space under the chromium. Then finally, I say indication, grade 4, this patient before surgery, grade 4, and it's 10 years after surgery, still graft is intact, and good elevation and good external rotation also. And he is a carpenter, he's still working as a carpenter now. And the sports patient, this is the 3 tendon tear patient. Now he enjoyed the baseball. And the physical worker, also the most of the patients can return to the physical work. It's a gardener, he can do this movement. Before surgery, actually very limited elevation. And pseudoparalysis patient, finally. Before surgery, very limited elevation. And this is a massive tear before surgery, and 3 after surgery, graft is still intact. And good elevation. He also now working as a carpenter. So this is the final slide. Actually, this is the SCR meeting in Japan. So we have the annual meeting in Japan, and so far only the Japanese doctors, and actually now in Japan the SCR surgeon increasing and more. So that's why getting bigger and bigger meetings. But if you do the SCR meeting in other countries, maybe in the future I want to combine, and I want to make an international meeting. So 5 years later, Dr. Barker says that SCR will change everything, but now I can say SCR is changing everything. So F. Harry Stroh Parapoli, thank you very much.